Donald Trump and Karoline Leavitt have gone to great lengths to suppress the media. They kicked the AP out of the White House press corps and even launched a website listing so-called media bias offenders to intimidate journalists. But there is one person Karoline Leavitt cannot silence, a family member who was detained by ICE and is now speaking out as Trump's term unravels. Naturally, Karoline Leavitt is panicking. We're going to cover what this family member revealed, breaking their silence. But before that, please leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy our channel, hit the subscribe button. It truly helps support our work. Now, before diving into what Karoline Leavitt's family member said, someone she likely wishes would stay quiet, let's begin with what Jasmine Crockett is saying about Trump's broader immigration crackdown and the breaking news you need to know right here.
So, first of all, we heard the story of a U.S. citizen who was on her way to work. And as she tried to tell them, listen, I'm a U.S. citizen, they would not listen, and she was taken into custody. We also heard about just the conditions, the horrific conditions that human beings are being kept in, the unsanitary conditions. But here's the reality. We went to L.A. I've been to Chicago to hear stories about, how much force is being used when people are being detained. But I can go right home. And I know the stories of my constituents. I know about a young lady who's only 21 years old and had consistently showed up to her appointments, and she was nabbed at one of those appointments. Her family said, make sure she's got her diabetic medication. They tried to give it to them. They would not take it. Ultimately, 5 days later, when they didn't give her medication, they had to take her to a hospital. They then put her back into custody, and ultimately there were issues with literally, I won't get so graphic, but involving urine and some other things.
Feel free to get graphic.
Well, there were allegations that because they were actually depriving them of water, that they literally were having to drink their own urine. This can't be America. But obviously, in Trump's America, this is exactly what he wants. And the idea that one person can get out of line and commit such a horrific crime as shooting two National Guardsmen that never, ever asked to be here. In fact, we know the young lady that lost her life, specifically, we're saying that this is a waste of time. But now you want to go against every single immigrant. That doesn't make sense. And it's frankly not who we are, because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime committal rate than white supremacists. But we don't want to talk about that in this country.
The FBI has for years said that homegrown terrorism is actually a much bigger issue than anything from any other country. One of the things that we keep hearing the president say is that he is going to denaturalize people. There should be people denaturalized, people who don't adhere to Western civilization values, whatever that means. I'm curious what you think about that, because one, it's not something he can do, right? He can't go around waving a wand and denaturalize people. There's a process. He's not supposed to.
Okay.
There's a legal process to that.
Yeah.
But what do you think is actually behind that? Because he probably knows that he can't do it. But what do you think he's trying to signal?
I think he is trying to do what he's always done, which is instill fear. He wants people to go into the shadows. He wants people to hide out the way that they're doing right now. People are not sending their kids to school. They're not showing up to work. He is wanting people to be terrified, and he only wants his kind of people on the streets. He wants everyone else to kind of languish in the shadows. But we can start with the fact that he's married a couple of immigrants himself, and we can start there if we're about to start denaturalizing. I'm just saying.
The cruelty is always the point for Donald Trump, and that has really been the overarching theme of this administration. They want people scared. They want communities afraid. They want to make you believe that Donald Trump holds all the power. I always talk about this idea of inevitability, that they try to instill that Donald Trump will always win, so we shouldn't even try. But that is the opposite approach that must be taken. We have to be calling these people out constantly and elevating the voices that they are trying to silence, which is exactly what the family member of Karoline Leavitt, who is detained by ICE. Her attorney is doing right now, sharing her story, breaking the silence, and going public with new info. Leavitt's relative, detained by ICE, addresses their relationship. Karoline Leavitt's close relative still has deep respect and admiration for the White House press secretary, even as she stays silent about her detention in an immigration facility. Bruna Ferreira, 33, was taken into immigration customs custody earlier this month while picking up her 11-year-old son, Leavitt's nephew and godson, from school in River, Massachusetts. The Department of Homeland Security alleges the Brazilian national overstayed a tourist visa. Ferreira, who is being held at the South Louisiana ICE Processing Center in Basel and has had no bad blood towards Karoline Leavitt or her family and holds the 28-year-old Trump official in high esteem. Her attorney told WMUR, an ABC affiliate in Leavitt's native New Hampshire. She is not doing well, but she is strong and resilient. Leavitt's brother, Michael, also told the outlet he was most concerned about the well-being and safety of his son, who he said Ferreira has maintained a close relationship with. The attorney said his client has been in the United States since she first entered at 6 years old and was granted Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, an immigration program established in 2012 that provides children brought to the U.S. with protection from deportation and work permit. The attorney also pushed back on lies shared by DHS, claiming that Ferreira overstayed a tourist visa that lapsed in 1999 and that she has a prior battery arrest. Individuals with serious criminal records are ineligible for DACA. Bruna has no criminal record whatsoever. I don't know where that is coming from. The attorney told War, "Show us the proof. There are no charges out there. She is not a criminal, illegal alien." We're hearing that said about anyone who's not a U.S. citizen, he added, referring to her detainment as a political football. Of course, Karoline Leavitt's nephew's mother is going to speak positively about her. It would be terrifying to do otherwise while under the control of Trump's ICE operatives. I don't actually believe she has a choice. What's clear is that in this administration, people feel compelled to praise Trump and Leavitt and to pretend that everything happening is lawful and humane. But it's not. Karoline Leavitt's silence about her family member's immigration status being misrepresented while detained highlights the depravity and hypocrisy rampant in this administration. The right has repeatedly claimed that this person is a criminal or an illegal immigrant, yet according to her attorney, none of that is true. It's no surprise these falsehoods come from DHS. The hypocrisy is glaring. Meanwhile, Trump's actions contradict the supposed purpose of his immigration crackdown, which is framed as preventing drugs from entering the U.S. While claiming to keep Americans safe, his icy policies are causing unjust harm. His latest pardon further undermines that narrative, and even one of his closest allies in the Senate, Markwayne Mullin, struggled to defend it this morning.
Presidential power is pretty much absolute, and I get that. But as an ally of the president, as a senator, you, I'm sure, have an opinion. Is, on the one hand, threatening Venezuela and Maduro, and on the other hand, saying that you're going to pardon a guy who was convicted in an American justice system for doing exactly what you're saying, intentionally poisoning Americans with drugs. Is that a good idea?
Well, I wasn't involved in the conversations that he had with the president of Honduras at the time. I believe there's probably a good faith that is being stretched forth here. If you saw the True Social post he put out, there was a direct message. I guarantee you the president's foreign affairs approach is one that's being very effective around the world, a lot better than the Biden administration. That's why world leaders are coming in every single day wanting to visit with the president. That's why the president is able to stop 8 foreign wars and hopefully 9 if we can hopefully negotiate a deal between Ukraine and Russia, because the world leaders respect him. And so what the president is doing is always calculated, and I haven't had a direct conversation with the president about it, but I do trust his natural reaction and his approach to foreign affairs, because we can see it's been very, very effective.
Donald Trump has effectively decided that he can declare war on U.S. cities under the guise of stopping drug trafficking, launching his own war on drugs with an expanded military budget. Meanwhile, a friend of his, another corrupt leader in the United States, faces legal trouble, and Trump is ready to pardon them. It's hard to understand how any MAGA supporters can get behind this when it blatantly contradicts Trump's campaign promises, like being the no new wars president, or claiming that Kamala Harris would somehow drag the country into World War III. Now, we are seeing the U.S. move toward conflict with Venezuela, and his base seems fully on board. What was supposed to be a hallmark of Trump's campaign, a message of peace, and even the promise of a Nobel Peace Prize, has crumbled faster than a normal Karoline Leavitt press conference. This is rampant hypocrisy. Exactly what we've come to expect from this administration. They cannot be taken seriously. Their lies are transparent, their hypocrisy blatant and constant, especially with someone like Pete Hegseth, who is being actively exposed for war crimes. It's unbelievable that anyone could claim this is a no new wars administration. That is why Mark Kelly has been so vocal, calling out these contradictions as he did right here.
He said he was going to go after drug dealers, gang members, criminals. What we've seen so far is a little bit of that and a lot of just breaking up communities, going after people like Kelly Yu, who is in an ICE detention center in Phoenix, who I visited, who is a business owner. She's got 70 employees. She fled China 20 years ago, fleeing communist China, came to this country. She is undocumented. Her mom's a U.S. citizen, her kid's a U.S. citizen, sister's a U.S. citizen. She has a deportation order. She is no threat to anybody. There are hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of these people.
But these are legal immigrants that he's talking about.
He's kicked out legal immigrants already. This is kind of more of the same from this president. When he says things like third world countries, what is he really saying? I think what he's saying is he doesn't want brown people in our country. And that is disturbing, and it's un-American.
There must be justice for people like Karoline Leavitt, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, and Stephen Miller, and we will continue advocating for that on this show. I don't believe there will ever be a time to simply move on, make amends, and restore the heart of the nation without real accountability. They need to be held responsible and taught a lesson, and we need to start addressing that now, because it seems to be the only language they understand. We'll continue calling it out on this show. If you want to support this work, hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.